Welcome back to Heroes Next Door. Thank you all for joining us today. We are back in New Jersey. We're at Montclair EMS and Ambulance Service. We're going to take a look at them. This is the BLS service for the area. They got a lot of cool things here with a lot of history in this building. So let's go take a look and see what they have. So we're going to meet up with their chief today, and I believe their EMS supervisor. You are Chief James?
Chief James Mazza.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for inviting us in. You got an awesome area that you live in here. It's kind of city?
It's a suburban, but it has a city vibe. And, you know, with the train right here during rush hour, the train's running almost every 10-15 minutes. So it's a lot of people. Right.
And as I drove up, I noticed the stamp on the front of the building, 1906.
Yeah.
There's a lot of history in this building, right?
Absolutely. So we have we were initially a firehouse here. Up until about 2004, 2005, and that's when they transitioned it over to being an EMS quarters for us. But before that, it was a working firehouse.
Awesome, awesome. Do you mind taking us on a tour?
Absolutely.
All right.
So this is our main area where we come in. You know, there's not a whole lot to this spot here. It's more simply just, you know, where our entrance.
Right,
you know,
right.
During COVID, we had a table set up here, and we'd have people check their temperatures, things like that.
Right.
We got a shred box right behind me, and jackets for if it's raining for the entire staff.
Right. I love the foyer area, though. You know, as you walk in, this is that old firehouse feel.
Yeah.
You got the real high ceilings. You got the, you know, entrance to the bay. Go upstairs to your work or your lounge. I don't even know what's up there yet, but. You could tell that this is very inviting, and it was built in the 1900s for the families and the community to come into. This is a great place to start.
It really is. I mean, high ceilings. It makes changing light bulbs fun. But, it's got a nice vibe to it.
Awesome.
And
all right,
go this way.
All right, I'll follow you.
So we have lockers for our staff. You'll see throughout the building, the lockers are kind of crammed into every nook and cranny we can make. Some people are sharing lockers, but this is where people keep their stuff.
Okay.
And then this is the crew room.
So with your
map room.
Okay, with your staff here, are you volunteer? Are you paid?
So we're 99% career staff here. We do have a board president who also rides on the ambulance as a volunteer, but the rest of us are all paid EMTs.
Okay. And in New Jersey, you are all BLS based, correct? How does that work?
So the way it works in New Jersey, we're what they're called a two-tier system. So what that means is your municipal based or your nonprofit based, such as we are BLS, which is basic life support. We can do basic treatment, oxygen, basic medications. Actually, our scope of practice in New Jersey is a little bit more advanced, finally. So we can do CPAP, we can do albuterol treatments. Even if the patient's not prescribed an albuterol treatment, we can provide an albuterol treatment for them.
Good.
Aspirin for chest pain, things like that. And then the ALS, which is advanced life support, they can do EKG monitoring, intubations, IV access, and all of that comes through hospital-based systems.
Okay, and that's across the board in Jersey,
that's all
not
Jersey.
Just your township.
Correct.
Okay.
They piloted something in the 80s and it just never took off. It became only a hospital-based system.
Okay. Well, thank you for inviting us out. This is one that we don't see very often. We get a lot of firehouses on Heroes Next Door, but you know we want to see more of the EMS side of it too, because we're the brothers and sisters. You know, we have police, fire, and EMS. I'm an EMS guy myself, so I do fire. So this is actually brings it close to home. So as we walked in here, you said this is kind of your crew room area?
Crew room, map room. This is our Deputy Chief, Michael Craig.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, thanks for inviting us out.
Thank you.
So
he can give you a little bit more detail on the history of this room.
Okay.
It's there's a lot here.
Okay.
There's a lot to unpack.
All right.
Montclair's been around for a long time, and one of the things that Montclair's very proud of is its history, and we try to continue that with it. The reason we call this the map room, obviously, is because of all the maps.
Right.
When the Montclair Ambulance Unit was first started in 1953, the volunteers gathered together, and some of the volunteers came up with the old light-up maps.
Okay.
So back in the 50s, before
GPS
and everything else, if you had a call, all you would have to do is flip the switch and the light would come on.
That's pretty slick.
All these lights are individually wired.
Okay.
And I was actually honored to meet the one of the people that helped make this.
Right.
This, for the most part, is still somewhat accurate.
Okay.
Some of the streets has changed. We don't actually have the rail station in here on the exact location and everything else.
There's less hospitals
But
now.
it's funny because
Yeah.
somebody's like, oh, where's that job? You'll see them working on the computer trying to find out on Google Maps, and somebody's like, it's there.
Right.
It still works quicker.
Right.
Montclair has grown. We used to have 3 hospitals in town. We're down to 1. Mountainside Hospital, who's a good partner we work with very, very closely, actually. We help them out wherever we can from we gave them some support during COVID with giving them multilators to use, to during the Ebola scare, we trained over 500 of their employees.
Okay.
Had a Don and Doff PPE equipment or personal protection equipment.
Yep.
So, again, the reason it's called the map room, we have this, we have an old civil defense map
Oh, wow.
up there
Okay.
to show where all the air raid shelters are and things of that nature.
Yeah.
To the actual treaty that was signed with the Native Indians to buy the land, which at this time, which during that time was called Cranetown.
Okay. Man, that goes way back.
Yes.
So
yes.
the one thing that I've always touched on from firehouse to firehouse and EMS is the ingenuity of us, trying to get things done. I always say we're the jack of all trades because, a lot of us do welding or they do auto body or mechanics and stuff like that. You had someone that had enough smarts and ingenuity to create this electrical grid
Yes.
to use to make it that much simpler. This to me is better than GPS because a lot of times when I look at my GPS, I have to almost scroll out all the way to see where I'm going. I don't want it to tell me how to get there. Where this, you flip a light, I'm like, oh, that's where it's at, kind of thing. So definitely love that.
During Hurricane Sandy, at the time we had a much smaller power generator that operated the bay doors and 4 outlets, and we weren't sure if we were ever going to lose power or not. So we set up our our emergency operations center for the ambulance unit here.
Okay.
And what was interesting was I was stationed at the Township EOC, kind of doing the relaying, and they used this quite a bit because they ended up using dry erase markers, marking down streets down as I was giving them to the Township EOC.
Right.
And it worked out really, really well.
Yeah.
And you're going to see, because of that, what's become upstairs a little bit later.
Okay. Yeah. I want to see these in pretty much every house. That's awesome. I think your neighbors, we did a episode on them over at T-Neck. They had something that was very similar to this too. So,
and where I started, we had something similar as well, but it was like a push pin, so you had to take the little pin and put it on the street. This is so much nicer. You just flip a switch.
Flip the switch and it's good to go. Awesome. What else do you have in the building?
So back behind us here is our bay where we store our equipment, our ambulances, and our ASAP unit, which we'll come to in a little bit. This is kind of like one of the... When I came here, I found it funny that it was such a big deal. Obviously, a washer and dryer are great for cleaning up linen or stuff, if whatever we might need, or if your uniform gets a little dirty or grungy. A lot of people come here and they use it for their personal laundry.
Right.
Like people bring their own laundry, their own cleaning supplies, and all day they're doing their own laundry, which I always thought, okay, but working EMS, everyone's working 2 or 3 jobs.
Right.
You might not necessarily get a chance to hit the laundry, so this becomes kind of key.
Yeah, or we're doing those schedules. I don't know what kind of schedules you guys run here. Do you run 8s, 12s, 24s?
So I have some employees that'll do 24s, but I have a truck up 24 hours a day with a second truck Monday through Friday, 8 to 6.
Okay.
On top of special events that we do for the Wellmont Theater in town and things like that.
Okay. Now I see you have the special vehicle here. You do a lot of events in the town?
So there's a lot of street fairs in town. There's a lot of different festivals. That, some towns are big on parades. Montclair is bigger on festivals and events.
Okay.
They'll close down a couple streets or a park and say we're doing a party here.
Okay.
We're also affiliated with the New Jersey EMS Task Force, which allows us to do a little bit more other events. So like Michael and I, we just went to Jersey City on July 4th for the fireworks.
Okay.
With our specialized vehicle.
Right. So maybe we can do a tour of that in a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, let's keep seeing the house here.
All right. Here we've got a kitchen.
Okay.
So what we got here, it's not up to like what you'd see in some firehouses, like a really industrial kitchen,
right?
But it gets the job done. We've cooked many events, you know, for the crews here, on the back porch here. When we come back down to the bays, you'll see we have a full grill. So EMS week, I actually grilled for everyone, and I did a lot of prep work in here.
That's awesome.
It works.
Was this the original kind of kitchen footprint?
I believe it was, yeah.
Yeah, so even back in the 1900s, they had a smaller kitchen. They didn't have the big ones. A lot of times they spent either out in the engine bay or on the skirt because they wanted to be part of the community.
Yep, exactly.
So having a all kitchen necessarily isn't bad.
It keeps you out of the kitchen.
Yeah.
Instead of just sitting in the kitchen, right?
Exactly. All right. And this is the steps to go upstairs?
This is another set of stairs to go upstairs.
Okay.
The light is out in here, so just watch your steps.
Okay. So you can enter it from the front or the back?
Yep, so it gets you both to the same spot. So if you go up through the front, you come right out by our offices, through the back here, you're kind of by the crew rooms.
Okay, we'll head upstairs.
All right, so this leads us upstairs. On this side of the house here, we've got a ladder up to the old bell tower, and there still is an active air raid siren up there, which we're not going to set off today. Probably have a lot of noise complaint calls if that happens. We've got a bunk room here, and you know, every agency has like one or two people that are like institutions there, right?
Right.
So back in the day, this used to be a gentleman named Tuna, his office, and he still works with us 2 nights a week. Okay. But this is Tuna's bunk room. Nobody uses this, right. even though we could. Everyone just kind of lets him use it because we don't need to.
Right.
If we needed to, well, sorry, it's not yours anymore.
Up here, you still get that feeling of that old firehouse feel.
Yeah.
You know, I appreciate the fact that you guys, you know, moved into an old firehouse and you're reusing that. All too often we see the firehouses either get torn down or they get converted into office buildings.
Yep.
And some things like that. The fact that you converted a firehouse into an EMS station is pretty slick to see.
It is, and it just, you know, everyone who's here has that vibe, like that we just enjoy the fact that there's so much history here and that we can make use of it in a manner that gives, you know, honor to the legacy of what it was before.
Right. I mean, even the paint on the walls and the old
nice
brick
industrial paint.
Yeah,
right?
the industrial paint and in the brick and all the things that are going on. It really gives you that feeling of like, hey, this is part of history.
Yeah.
And I want to be part of it.
Yeah.
So if someone wanted to be part of your organization, how would they get a hold of you?
So we're constantly looking at per diem applications. There's two big ways to get a hold of me, either montclairems.org. It's a simple application. It's really all Google form, and I'll get your information. Or my email is chief@montclairems.org.
Okay. In order to become a member, either volunteer or paid, do they have to have EMT school first?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we aren't really taking on volunteers at this point. Maybe one day in the future, but we're not there yet. But you have to be an EMT first. You don't necessarily need much EMS experience. We're willing to take people on with minimal experience if, you know, after they go through the interview process, if we feel that they'll flourish. We've had a couple good success stories out of that. But usually it's 2 years EMS experience.
Okay. Now, if I'm in the area, or maybe I moved in the area, where would I go get that EMS experience?
Yes.
Or that education that I need?
So every county pretty much runs an EMS training center. Passaic County has an EMT training school, Bergen County, Essex County, and there's a couple other private institutions out there that also offer it. But every county, every county community college pretty much has it.
So it's pretty simple to get that information. Yeah. So if you guys are out there and you're in the area, you want to start, you know, running as an EMT, this is a good place to do it. It's got a lot of history. Come join them for sure. All right,
absolutely.
We'll keep looking.
All right. More lockers, as I promised.
Yeah.
Lockers are everywhere. Squeeze them into every spot.
It looks like the old school lockers that I used to have.
I think that's where we got them from, the old school.
Yeah.
Another bunk room. We got 4 bunks in here. You got 2 over here. You got 2 over here.
Because you run one crew 24 hours a
yes,
day, 7 days a week.
Yes, we do.
Right. And then your second crew is just a day shift?
Second crew is a day shift, 8 to 6. And then, you know, storms or larger events will bring out more people.
Okay.
And as I mentioned, the Wellmont Theater, we have this month's a little light with only 4 shows, but there's months that we'll have 4 shows in a week. So that we're putting a second truck up just for that theater coverage.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah, and even though we have these bunk rooms, this is where a lot of the crews sleep. Even though we have nice beds for them, they sleep on the couches.
Of course, many of us do. So, and one of the reasons for that is because we're always busy. You know, we're always getting calls, whether, you know, it's 2 o'clock in the morning or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. This is where we spend a lot of our time. We'll fall asleep on the couch.
Fall asleep on the couch, watching TV.
Yeah,
we got some Xbox.
Well, love the little fireplace.
Little fireplace.
Yeah.
You know, I've sat here with the crew. We watched Obi-Wan recently,
Okay.
and that came out. It's like, oh, it's the first episode of Obi-Wan. Oh, I guess we're not doing any work today. We're gonna watch Obi-Wan.
Right.
But yeah, this is the crew room. This is where crews eat. Most of them sleep on these couches. We got radios in here, so the crews will never miss a call. But also, we're dispatched via phone, and if it goes off, you'll know it. It's a louder phone call than a normal phone.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. Like where I come from in Chester County, Pennsylvania, we use pager systems, or we use an I am responding kind of
Gotcha.
app on our
Yeah.
phone. You guys still get a phone call to the house.
Yep. So our dispatch center, it's Montclair Police Dispatch. They'll get on the phone and they just call us via phone.
Okay.
It's it works. The crews wake up. I've never had an issue where a crew is sleeping through a phone call.
Right.
And it's just we don't need that infrastructure of a page or everything because we're an in-house crew, right?
Right,
And
right.
we're always in-house.
Okay. I love the architectural in this area. I mean, the lockers.
These are the old lockers.
Yeah,
which
the old lockers, the windows, the big doors.
Yep.
You know, it definitely brings you back to that time of when it was built, and a lot of people have come through here and shown a lot of history. A lot of, you know,
Yeah.
I'm sure good men and women. So
Absolutely. Yeah, we've repurposed all the lockers, so now they're training closets. So we do a lot of community CPR.
Okay.
I think just last month alone, we trained 54 people in the community CPR.
Nice.
So we keep a lot of our equipment for that here.
Okay. So if I was a community member here, do I have to sign up online? How would I go ahead and get that
You
CPR?
send us an email via training
Okay.
at montclairems.org, and our training supervisor, Jonathan Pryor, he would take care of setting that up for you.
Okay.
And that hallway we just passed down, there's a shower and a bathroom. The shower, the head of the shower is an older head, and they tried to replace it, and we can't replace it because the pressure we get out of that shower head is, I've been told, I haven't showered here yet, is phenomenal.
Right.
So they put in a new one. It's like, this doesn't give the same pressure. What are you doing?
Right, leave it as it is.
Yep.
So this is the steps from the front foyer.
This is the steps where if you were to walk in the front door, with this hallway here would bring you up. And
Okay.
We'll go back down that.
Yeah, we'll go down that and take a look at a lot of those
There's a
pictures
lot
on
of
the wall.
history on this wall.
Right.
So this is our main office. So this is where, this is our supervisor's desk, my deputy chief Michael, my desk back here with all the mess on it, our executive director Diane, she has a desk here, but this is where all the work happens during the day.
Right.
Monday through Friday, we're in the office.
One thing that people have to understand, in order to have a successful organization, you need that leadership that is behind the scenes. Yes, it's the EMTs that are going out and doing the work, the heavy lifting, but without the support of that administration behind them, they don't have the equipment, they don't have the schedules, they don't have the finance in order to get that done.
There's a lot that goes into it that people don't think. It's more than just the guys going on the road. You got to make it work on
Right. So how do you guys raise finance for your business? Are you tax-based?
We're not tax-based. We're a nonprofit, so there's a lot of fundraising that goes into it, and we do a substantial amount of fundraising. We just had our spring appeal. We're going to do a annual appeal later on this year. This is all run through the executive director. We do some grants, so I've applied recently to a couple different grants to try and get some ballistic equipment for Rescue Task Force, as well as some power load stretchers for our ambulances, because we're still operating on the old furnace.
Okay. The finger pinchers, furnace, yeah.
Not the finger pincher. We're on the battery power, but still, we want to go to the next level.
Sure.
To power loads.
Sure.
So stuff like that grants help, but then the primary thing is we're billing our patients, right?
Right.
And we soft bill. We're not really putting people into collections, but
yeah, you
got to get every dollar.
Got to build their insurance, as see fit in order to make this work, because it's a service that's not free here in America.
No.
You have to pay your employees, you have to pay your staff, and you have to pay for the maintenance of those things. And with the fuel prices going up as they are, those prices go up.
So one thing with fuel, and we thank the Township of Montclair, they not only provide us this building for a very low cost of like $10 for 3 years, but they take care of our fuel for us. So we just go to the town, pump fuel up, and it's kind of like an in-kind contribution they provide.
That's good. So if I'm a resident, can I donate to you directly?
Absolutely. All that you can donate via credit card, checks to the address here, 95 Walnut Street, but on the internet, montclairems.org, you can just put in your credit card, and there's a list of supplies that we use, tourniquets, Narcan, all different things with the costs associated. They can be like, oh, I want to help them buy this.
Right.
And it shows what the actual cost is.
Yeah, so the community has an opportunity to give back to the community that they're living in.
Yes.
And that's, they may not be able to volunteer their time, they may not be able to become an EMT to help you out, but they can help financially. So if you're in the area, you're watching this video, we appreciate it. I want to stop real quick and say, do us a favor. If you're watching this video, hit subscribe, hit notifications so we can keep bringing you more. We're trying to get to that 100,000 subscriber mark by the end of the year.
Hopefully we can help.
So hopefully with your viewers' help, we can get to that point. But definitely hit these guys up, and if you want to donate, they can definitely use it. So, and you got a little boardroom over here, right?
So this is a boardroom. I don't even want to call it a boardroom. It's a conference room, but we've also used it as an EOC. It was, we're not done with the renovations of it yet, but the whole idea will be we've got an incident command board here, and you'll see more of that in one of our trailers.
Yep.
But we've got both of these TVs are not just TVs; they're linked up to a computer. We can do Zoom conferencing. And during snowstorms, we'll put up weather on here, and we can really.
So this is your camera and your soundboard, that kind of stuff. So you can talk to your government officials on a Zoom call when those big. Now you recently went through Sandy. I think was the last biggest one around here.
That was probably the biggest one. We did have I think it was Ida that came through. It was only a tropical storm when it came through, but it caused a lot of flooding. Even in our building, we lost about $16,000 worth of equipment in our basement that we've gotten FEMA reimbursement for, but 2 streams underground converged like right up the block. And it was something like 12 inches of rain in like a span of 2 hours.
Right.
So that next day, actually, myself and our deputy chief at the time, we went down to, there was a nursing home, and I believe it was Somerset, that water was coming at them. They had a river behind them, and the New Jersey EMS task force, which we're a member of, they got down there and they realized this is not just an evacuation, this is a rescue because there's water in the facility already. So we got down there and through our fleet of mobile ambulance buses that the New Jersey EMS task force has, we evacuated something like 100 patients out of there.
That's working together. That's that collaboration
really
that the state kind of puts together that you guys participate in. That's something that you don't have to participate in, right?
No.
Yeah, so you choose to be part of the neighborhood, not just in this community, but the community in general.
Exactly. So the New Jersey EMS task force is a core group of about 260 EMTs and paramedics throughout the state in north, central, south regions. We're not going to get into if central actually exists. I don't think it does. It's north and south, but I'm probably annoying some of our central brothers when I say that, brothers and sisters. But so the EMS task force used to be affiliated with the State Department of Health, and they broke off, and they're now a separate 501c3 that gets funding through the Department of Health.
Okay.
With its own board of directors and things like that. Right. But they help provide equipment, and you're going to see some of our equipment downstairs. If it says New Jersey EMS Task Force on it, it was provided by the New Jersey EMS Task Force.
Okay.
And with the idea being it's yours to use for any events in your community and your surrounding communities, but when we put up our thumb and say we need it, we have to staff it and send it out.
Okay, awesome. So this is pretty much the rest of the building. It's a 2-story, older firehouse, but you got everything that you need here. You got bunk rooms, you had the crew room, you got the kitchen.
It's got all the creature comforts you could possibly need. We're not staging on a street like some agencies. We're not staging in a trailer like some agencies that you've seen out there. We have a comfortable quarters and the ability to cook. And downtime, showers, beds, the whole 9.
All right. Now, we went through that engine bay. We just kind of glanced on it a little bit, and you talked about some of those vehicles from the task force.
Yeah.
Do you mind if we go back downstairs and take a look at those?
Let's take a look.
All right.
So, a lot of history, though, as you can see.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, you got the old black and white.
The old black and white photos.
Photos of the patient. That's the old Cadillac ambulance.
The old Cadillacs with the jumpsuits.
Yeah, yeah. Many of us across the nation started out that way. My first vehicle was one of the old Cadillacs. I only rode in a year, but I swear that rides a whole lot better than our big new ambulances.
I've never ridden in one, but everything I've heard says I should.
Yeah. So, I love the fact that you actually put all this up on the wall for the public to see. Anybody that comes in and your staff can see that, it's a significant history up here.
So Buzz Aldrin grew up in Montclair. Actually, our middle school is named Buzz Aldrin Middle School.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So a little bit more community history, not necessarily our history, but
right.
I always love this one. This is just, you can tell how old. It's the same picture, but this is the type of recruiting you did back then.
Yeah. So now we're using social media rather than just pictures.
Yeah. We responded into the city for 9/11.
Okay.
Thank you from FDNY.
Yeah, I was working in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania at the time, and we got put on standby during 9/11 to kind of cover you guys. You guys went over.
Everyone went
and
over.
we kind of shifted over, and you guys helped out. So I want to thank you for helping out at 9/11. We appreciate it.
I was not, but my deputy chief was.
Yeah,
I was still a freshman in high school. Just to give my age, right? But our agency helped out.
Okay, so we're going to go out into the engine bay, and you got a couple vehicles?
We got a couple vehicles here.
Okay.
So we typically have 3 ambulances. One of them is out for PM right now.
Sure.
We just got this one back after a perpetual wiring harness issue.
Yeah, it happens.
National supply chain, right?
Exactly.
One of the things when sometimes it's good when we're down to 2, not from a response capability, but it gives us a little extra space because as you can see, we don't have a whole lot of it.
Yeah, a 2-engine, but you're going to stack these double deep when you have them.
Yeah.
So you know you have a Ford, you have a GM. What year is this one?
So this one here is actually a 2010 or 11. We're actually in the process of talking what we want to do with it. We want to remount it or just buy a brand new one. And we just started that process.
Okay, and the GMC is?
Should be 2014.
Okay.
And we try and remount where we can. It cuts down the cost. And the boxes, you can get 2 or 3 remounts out.
Okay. Explain to our viewers what a remount is. Why would you do that versus just buy a new ambulance? You know, if I'm buying a new car, I don't remount my car. What does that mean?
So remount means all these style ambulances, either a Type 1 or a Type 3, and these are Type 3s. They are a chassis of a truck manufacturer, either GM, Dodge, I think has now gotten in the game, and Ford is the primary one. And they'll take the box where all the work is and where all the equipment is, that box comes up on off that chassis.
Okay.
So you can take the box off the chassis and put that on a new chassis because the box may be in good shape, but the truck may have like 150,000 miles or the engine might be going on.
So like the drivetrain might be going, the steering might be going, the actual truck itself is kind of getting worn down, but the box that you worked in where you sit down and you carry patients, that's still perfectly fine.
Exactly.
So it's almost like the modules that you have for Jeeps. You know, Jeep guys always pulling their truck off and putting new parts on. You do the same thing with ambulances.
You can absolutely do the same thing with an ambulance. It cuts down on the cost. So a brand new Type 3, because of the current market conditions and everything else, you're looking at $220,000 to $250,000.
Right.
A remount, you're looking at $100,000 to $130,000.
Big difference.
It's a huge difference.
Yeah. You don't own 2 for the price of 1.
The only downside is you lose that truck while it's being remounted for however long that takes.
Right. But it's thinking fiscally responsible.
You have to.
All right.
Every dollar counts.
You have a vehicle back here called an
ASAP.
ASAP.
Yep.
Is that as soon as possible vehicle?
It's an all-terrain ambulance.
Okay.
We'll go around this side.
All right.
Might be a little bit more space.
All right.
Like I was saying about space, right?
Right. Yeah, it's a little tight quarters, but we get through there.
So we've got 2 things here. Whenever the 3rd truck isn't here, we set up our sim man that we have. And this was also provided through a grant through the EMS task force. That allows us, we do this for a couple different things, right? So we're actually, to what Michael was saying before about Mountainside Medical Center or Mountainside Hospital right next to us, we're going to be working with their simulation team to help them do like a code stroke simulation for their team there.
Right.
So we're going to put this someplace in town. We're going to just put them on the ground and run it through like it's a stroke.
Okay.
And see how that goes. But also whenever I hire somebody, we do this as a test. We have 2 very simple scenarios. I'm not necessarily looking to make sure 100% your patient skills are there because I know it's a test, right? Like you're nervous, you're jittery. It's more like, how do you deal with the stress of like, I've got a breathing thing in front of me.
Right.
We've had people get all freaked out, like I can't do this. Like,
Yeah.
All right, we know that they can't handle the stress of this type of job.
It's also that critical thinking aspect of it. You know, we can do what I call the monkey skills, putting IVs in, doing CPR, all the skills that you need can be taught to pretty much anybody. And the kind of little story about myself is when I was going through paramedic school, my daughter was just 4 or 5 years old. I taught her how to intubate just as well as anybody else. The question is why? Why do you intubate? Why? And those are the critical thinkings that you're testing now on when or when not to do something on a mannequin.
Exactly. And that's the nice thing about this mannequin, even though we're BLS only here, I can do ALS stuff with this. So if the crew wants to practice and we can intubate this mannequin, like you said.
Right.
It's easy to do the skill, it's just the ability to understand why you're doing the skill.
Right. And from a BLS aspect, from ALS to BLS, I appreciate the fact that you guys are taking that extra step in learning what it is. Because now I don't say, hey, can you grab me my 7.5 tube and my MAC blade? You guys know what it is, even though it's not in your scope of practice. You kind of have that ALS assist course. that really makes the efficiency of working together.
And the crews, they love it. In fact, they just made a T-Rex in the map. But yeah, so, you know, I've interviewed people, like they maybe got a little bit wrong on something like that I'm looking for, but they ain't killed a patient. And they, after the words, they'd be like, oh, I forgot to do this. I get it, you're taking a test. It's more to test your ability to think through the stress.
Right, right. And that's a pretty costly kind of material or service to have in order to do a Sims man. They're not cheap.
They're not. Like I said, if we hadn't gotten a grant through the EMS task force, this wouldn't be here, right? But we've taken it out to other agencies, for like volunteer agencies in our area, and even up in Essex County. We'll take that out and we'll moulage it up a little bit, toss it on the ground, and be like, hey. And the youth cadets up in some of these agencies, they love that.
Yeah.
They'll flip it over and be like, oh, that's a fake knife sticking out. What's this?
Right. So this is your ASAP, as soon as possible.
Yeah. So ASAP is the manufacturer, and these are all-terrain ambulances, right? It's a Polaris front, and then we got a box on the back.
Okay.
You got your suicide doors on here, right?
Yeah.
On both sides.
Okay.
We've got air conditioning inside, heat inside. This is more for your long-term deployment as opposed to like a gator where you're out in the open and you're going out to like grab somebody on a hiking trail. This is more like we're stationed someplace doing a longer-term standby with this.
Okay. And that's what it's designed for, is those standbys.
Yeah.
Can you drive this down the street? Could you take a patient to the hospital? Your hospital is only a couple blocks away.
So you could. In very specific sets of circumstances, the state of New Jersey has allowed it. Like if there's a massive snowstorm and they're like, listen, we know nothing can get on the roads, they'll allow it.
Okay.
But because we're a licensed agency and we got that state seal on the side of our ambulance, we can't just toss somebody in here and transport them. We have to transport them to an ambulance.
Okay.
And then the ambulance has to take them out.
Gotcha.
Again, disaster type conditions or state snowstorms or something where they give us the waiver, then we can.
Gotcha.
It's technically not street legal. Doesn't mean you can't drive it on the street.
Right.
The power steering eye is more
with the amount of
human.
events that you guys have, do you have a bike team that you would put together?
So we used to have a bike team, and we found that this is actually a better option than the bike team. This can still get through the crowds just like a bike, maybe not as tight, but we can still get through almost all the crowds we need to. We can go off road with this, whereas a bike, certain type of terrain isn't going to work as easily.
Sure. So I actually just had a bike that was donated to us by Hemaway. It's one of our sponsors, and one thing that we're always looking for are more sponsors. So if there's anybody out there and want to sponsor our video, let us know. But Hemaway sponsored one, and we were doing a review. We did the IPEMBA certification for the bike review.
Yeah.
That's an e-bike. And man, what a game changer. So I may be talking to you when this film's done to potentially getting on the bike team again, because it made a world of difference. I drove 3 miles in a matter of minutes and wasn't winded by the time I got there.
That's amazing.
It was absolutely awesome.
That's amazing.
Just wanted to mention that to you, because you do such big events, and you're doing a lot of events in town.
We do.
Maybe that's something to consider.
Something to consider.
Awesome.
All right.
So outside, you have another vehicle that's staged out here, correct?
We do. So there's actually this trailer, we sometimes will bring it out here, but it's also usually stored at our DPW lot.
Okay.
Just because space is a premium, right?
Yeah.
And this is a big one.
Okay.
So the truck that drives it, this is what we call a prime mover.
Okay.
You got a prime mover here. This actually will stay here. We'll park this in our parking lot, but this trailer stays pretty much at the DPW.
Okay. What's DPW?
Department of Public Works.
Okay.
So the same place we fuel up, it's sitting right there. That way we have access to it 24/7. We can hitch up to it.
Okay. And what is this trailer designed for? It's not a hazmat trailer. We've done one of those in the past. This is completely different.
So this is a staging trailer. The whole concept here, any mass casualty incident or pre-staged event, you're going to have resources from all over the area coming in, and you need to stage them, right? You need to put them someplace, and then when the incident commander says, these units need to move in, they go from staging to the actual event. That's what this thing does.
Okay, so it's an incident command trailer. A lot of where I come from, we have the mobile homes that come from the county. It's a county resource.
Yeah.
But you guys are doing it right from your level. And not having to call in a county to do that.
We don't have to call in the county to do that. We can do everything we need. It's actually broken up into 2 parts, and you'll see when we go inside it later.
Okay.
You've got a door in between. You've got like a semi-command post where we've got radios, and you can set up laptops and a weather station, the whole nine.
Okay.
And on the back, it's pretty much open. So we could set up tables and have people, working there, right? You can
Right.
they could set up additional laptops and people could be working in there.
Okay, okay. So for you guys that are viewing right now, you're going to see a little bit of B-roll on the inside of this, but I think we should do a station rigs on this and maybe your little special operations vehicle
I think
to
that
show the
works.
viewers, you know, the different things that are out there. All too often we look at the fire trucks, we've seen a lot of those.
Yep.
We've seen a couple ambulances, but this is kind of unique, and I think that would be a great episode. Do you mind doing that
Not at all.
maybe next week or so?
Absolutely.
All right, so pay attention. So maybe next week or the week after, you guys are going to see Station Rigs on their special operations vehicles, both their little ambulance, I guess is what you call it,
Yeah.
and their trailer.
Fantastic.
So thank you so much for inviting us out, Chief.
No worries.
You know, I appreciate this. I love the fact that, you know, we're here, we're on the road, even right next door to you, you got the restaurant with the people standing outside.
You know, it's great. We'll just have guys sit on the front ramp. 2022, so they shouldn't be smoking cigars,
Right.
but they're smoking cigars on the front ramp. It's just a nice town vibe.
Yeah.
And especially at rush hour, you got people walking back and forth. It's
Right.
just, you know, everyone's friendly. Animal shelter right behind us, walking dogs saying adopt me on it, right?
So
They keep telling me to adopt a station pet, right? I don't think anyone will
maybe
clean
you
up
get
after
there.
it.
Everybody loves their dogs.
Everyone loves their dogs, right?
All right, thank you all for watching. We appreciate you. This was the Station Cribs with Montclair EMS. Thank you for inviting us out. Before we end, you got to do us a favor. Hit that subscribe, hit that notification, smash that like button. It helps our algorithm build to that 100,000 subscriber mark. With your guys' help, we can do that. If you're ever in Montclair, stop by. They'd be happy to give you a tour themselves. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again next week.